here is where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandopi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pileski dives onto the right side, very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pileski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the lap car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. A 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernot. Gernot will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Last week was a rout for the preacher as Juha Norlampi sent everyone back to Sunday school at Spa-Francorchamps. And while that track is known for offering a lot of draft and Juha was able to break it early, it might be more difficult for him to do the same today. Monza's long straights get even longer with the drivers electing to remove the first chicane. Can anyone escape the slipstream and dash away to victory again? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 9 of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is former real-world IndyCar driver Richie Hearn. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. Richie, if there were ever to be such a thing as racetrack royalty, I have to imagine this circuit would quickly be on the throne. I mean, it's even built in the Royal Park.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Yeah, it's awesome place for an awesome car. I've actually visited this place, never driven it, but been there and checked it out. It's a beautiful park that they built this in. Removing that first chicane is going to make this extremely fun to watch. A long straight, as you can see on the screen, into a fast right-hander. So drafting and low downforce is going to be king here. The track is fairly narrow, not a lot of runoff. So if you do go off, you're probably going to hit something, but it should be a pretty exciting race. It's 3.5 miles long, 9 turns. We'll be punching out 28 laps, but probably the best way for you viewers to see what it's like is jump on board that GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Monza. Blasting down the front straightaway, draft battles will be plentiful. There's no first chicane in this layout, so drivers will be flat to the floor for a long time. In fact, once they hit Curva Grande, they still won't lift because the downforce of the Lotus makes it a breeze to power through. As you come out of it, drift back to the right and set up to brake for Della Rosa. This will effectively become the first real corner, and this chicane could cause some pileups with how tight and slow it is. Stay off the tall sausage curbs because the car won't like them. From there, it's a short burst to the first Lesmo, where ideally you want to take it with a late apex. The slight bit of camber can deceive you into turning in too early. You can use the AstroTurf on exit, but get back to the asphalt and then line up for the second Lesmo. This is the more critical of the 2 turns because the exit leads onto a very long straightaway with heavy braking at the end of it. Passing opportunities will be rife, and a lot of drivers will be trying to take advantage of anyone lacking a good launch. As we come under the bridge, hold to the right and spot your brake marker for Ascari. This chicane is very different from the other one with 3 apexes and a lot faster line. Try to open up the final apex for the best run you can get down into Parabolica. The pavement to the right is all fair game, so drivers are likely to let it swing wide to help carry their speed. Finally, as we approach the final corner, you can attempt to pass here, but I'm not sure that it's always wise in most cases. Parabolica gives a nice big braking zone and the track is plenty wide, so that's not the issue here. It's because when you come out of the turn, you're back on the main straight where anyone within a stone's throw will suck up to the rear of you and overtake you again. It might be better to wait until here to slipstream by your opponent. But hopefully you keep it all together and have now finished a lap around Monza.
Richie was not kidding when he said that it is going to be a very fast lap around here. Now, let's take a look at the championship because things have gotten very interesting with that. Gernot Frisch has missed 3 rounds, so he's obviously a little bit under the gun. He does have 4 drop weeks, so he has some safety in his pocket. But Matt Wood, without the drop weeks, is actually far ahead of Gernot Frisch. But with these drop weeks, you can see that Frisch is still up there. He is here today, and he's got 2 more rounds after this one. Steve Bycroft and Adam Frazier are now tied for 3rd after Frazier jumps up 1. And then how about Alex Millward jumping up 7 spots to get himself into P5 with last round. Let's go look at the Teams Championship. And Richie, how's that shaping up?
Yeah, this is the Classic Team Championship for a reason. So here they are, the team standings. They do get 2 drops for this season. Right now, it's Martini Racing Team Lotus up in front with 169 points, but not too far behind. Moving up 1 spot is Keep Renault Elf, 15 points back. Losing a spot was Saudi Racing Team Williams, only 7 points behind 2nd place. 4th, moving up 4 spots after last week, is Scuderia Ferrari. And running 5th, kind of holding steady, is Parmalat Racing Team Brabham. And they're 34 points back from the leaders here. So it should be tight as we get near the end.
Certainly expect it to be fascinating today, as it could get shuffled around. In fact, let's take a look at what today has in store. As I mentioned, only 2 left after this one, since this is round 9. 3 left after this one, I can count. And there's those drop weeks that you can see after they take into account their bad races. The race length, 28 laps are on store for today, because they go by so quickly. And just like they did in 1978, there is no scheduled pit stops. You can come in to take a stop, but usually that's only if you need repairs, or maybe you screwed up the fuel somehow. So you are going to be set back. There is an incident limit of 17. Since they've got some sharp chicanes, that could be a problem here today. And the points that you've been following in the championships are the official iRacing points that they score based on the strength of field. Nicola Cocci is up at the top of the qualifying currently. Matt Wood, who is in contention for the championship, is on the outside of the front row. We're waiting for Gernot Frisch to complete his first-time lap. He tends to be incredibly fast, and they can't rely on the draft here in qualifying like they do in a regular open practice, Richie. So this is down to what he can do all on his own.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And it's easy to make a mistake and drop a wheel and get that 1X, and that lap will not count. But we got Johan Norlampi up on top, 130.947. Gernot Frisch is 2nd at the moment. And so this is going to be a good battle with all of these top-ranked drivers in this split.
Yeah, glad to see both Norlampi and Frisch here today to compete. Hopefully that'll give us some fun. I'm seeing a few drivers hop over from the Lotus 49, a much older car. Gary Teal has joined us today here in the top split. You see him sitting in 16th currently, so I guess maybe a little bit more difficult to be as competitive, since he tends to be up at the front for podiums. He's going to come around to complete his 2nd timed lap. They only get 2 of them. 133.6 currently his 1 timed lap around the parabolica and across the line. What's this one going to be? It looks like a 33.5, so just a 10th faster, but no position gain for Gary.
Yeah, I mean, the setup's going to be key on this track too, is be able to get the downforce all the way out, but still have that grip through under the braking zones. That's when you take all that rear downforce out. That's one thing you lose, is the stability under the brakes. So it's, with no ABS, it's really easy to lock up those tires. So, wow, look at that. Nicola Cocci up on top with a 9.22. Norlampi right behind him in a 9.25. We can't get much closer than that for that front row at the moment.
Oh, and Frisch tops both of them.
Yeah, never mind. He just comes in, drops 3/10 on those guys. So never mind what I just said.
Man, Gernot Frisch clearly on a tear, trying to respond after his 3 missed races. Adam Frazier taking his 2nd lap. Is he able to get in the mix? No, he is not. A 31.4, slower than his first lap. Seeing if anybody else has got a chance to try and run a 2nd lap. Looks like John Stevens coming around to get his, as he had an off track on his first one. So the Number 18 car is really under pressure to get a clean one in. About a minute 30 left. After him, Eduardo Prado is going to take his final time lap, and he'll be the last car to complete qualifying. A 32.5 for John Stevens is good enough for 16th place. Prado's coming up to Parabolica right now. He's a little bit ahead in 14th with a 32.1 on the board. Let's see what the Brazilians can manage. See, comes the line. It is going to be a 31.8. A few tenths faster will move him up to 11th. A successful attempt on his second lap. And that's going to complete qualifying here today. Gernot Frisch, as Richie mentioned, has managed to one-up everybody by a fair margin on a track this quick. And Nicola Kochi is going to start next to him to see what he can do off the line in second place. Juha Norlampi will start P3. He took the win last round at a fast track. Can he repeat? It'll be Matt Woods starting on the outside of row 2. Steve Bycroft will be P5, and Adam Frazier starts 6. Pablo Suarez has managed to get 7th with Alex Millward, who recently got up to the top 5 in the points, starting 8th today. Tobias Gerber will be 9th, and then Tommy Unhola will be starting in 10th.
Starting on that 6th row on the inside will be Eduardo Prada. Right next to him, Dustin Herder. Row 7, Fabian Gerber, and right next to him, Mark Pickford in the 14th spot. Starting 15th will be Barry West, and next to him in 16th will be John Stevens. And the last final row here, Alberto Pellegrini and Gary Teal in 18th.
Everybody now gritting up for this race. Hopefully everybody's off the line clean here today. Thankfully, they don't have to worry about plunging into that first chicane. They'll be able to sort it out a little bit before they reach the first time they slow up. That will be into Della Rosia. It is a long straight down this front stretch, Richie.
I was just going to say, yeah, with the long straight, I mean, they're going to be up to full speed when they get to that first turn. And so the guys in the back are going to have a huge draft advantage. So they're just going to have to be careful they don't get all packed up as the front guys have to slow down for that corner before they get.
On a regular lap, do they need to lift or brake or anything for Curva Grande, that first right-hander?
I believe it's just kind of like a breathe of the throttle. It's not really much of a lift. But it depends on with the low downforce and you're in the draft, you're going to lose the front. So it is narrow and it's easy to run off at that point. But, it should be not much of a.
Just incredible. If only we could watch that sort of racing here again. Thankfully, without safety being a concern here in the virtual world, we get to enjoy some spectacular stuff. And as we wait for Gary Teal to bring himself out to the grid, he'll be the last one. Then we get to go racing for round 9 here in the Classic Teams Championship. He's brought it out, so the engines start to rev. The lights come up. Green flag is out. Off the line. It's a great start for Frisch, but a horrible start for Nicola Kochi. He's already being swamped. Matt Wood gets around him. Nora Lompe manages to get by. Steve Bycroft thinks about it. A little bit of 3 wide behind him, but the track now narrows up. They're starting to get it sorted out. It is a side-by-side battle for the lead as Nora Lompe trying to work around the outside of Gernot Frisch through Curva Grande. He's on the outside for the right-hander, but it's the inside for Della Rosia. What has he got into the braking? There's still wheel-to-wheel. Nobody's willing to give up, and as finally they come off the corner, it looks like Frisch is going to get the upper hand.
Yeah, that was a great start by Nora Lompe, and it was pretty amazing they were able to go side by side through that first chicane. But and then we get basically a single file as they come through the Parabolicas, or through the Curva Grande, and head back down under the old track. And man, everybody's doing a good job here, just kind of single file, being a little patient, so nice start for everybody.
The only car that I saw way in the back was Gary Teal, and he may have actually started from the pit lane. I'll have to get confirmation on that. They hit Ascari for the first time, making their way out of there down towards Parabolica. Frisch managing to get about half a second over Nora Lompe, but this will be the first time that we get to see what the draft can do down the front stretch. They've got about 4 cars at least somewhat close in a train. I mentioned Orlampi there in second. Matt Wood rides third, and Kochi has recovered up to fourth. Here they go, Richie.
See him sneaking down the front straightaway, back and forth they go. All 4 cars in a line. Not
And
much going on just yet.
Yeah, and Orlampi's got a big toe. In fact, he's going to be able to get side by side by the time they reach Curva Grande. We saw this last time, but he's not quite far enough alongside this time. A defensive move from Gurno down into the first chicane. And he holds ahead on the way into Della Rosa. In fact, many of the cars behind them have now caught up. Bycroft, Suarez, Frazier, Millward. It is an 8-car train at the front.
It's going to be hard for people to break away. I mean, I know Gurno's doing driving as hard as he can to break that draft, but with like basically 3 long straightaways, it's going to be pretty much impossible. The passing is going to be tough, though. Like I say, coming under braking into those chicanes is easy going to be to lock up those tires and miss the corner completely.
Maybe that will make the difference today. This is one of those corners. There's a big slide into it from Kochi. We're riding on board with Wood, who's just in front of him, and that didn't break them up. Bycroft still riding right behind. They are pulling a little bit of a gap to the car behind Bycroft. Pablo Suarez. In fact, Suarez in a little bit of a battle with Adam Frazier as they come into parabolic, and they actually touch as Frazier has to collect the car, and they are now absolutely losing ground up to Bycroft in front of them as they go side by side down the front stretch.
They go side by side, but the 5 cars in front of them are all basically nose to tail. Looks like Gurno Frisch is starting to get a little bit of a gap on. He's got 0.4 of a second, but Orlampi's not be able to get side by side with them. He's going to have to worry about the 2 cars behind him as Gurno's starting to put in some quick laps.
Side by side up to Della Rosa. Frazier is going to be deeper on the brakes. Oh, but he doesn't make the apex. Car slides through, and somehow he keeps the spot. Suarez not brave enough to try to stick it in there. Now he makes more contact. That was Millward.
Yeah, contact from the right front to the left rear, and he's lost some momentum. Looks like he's able to keep going. Doesn't look like he has any damage, but that was close.
Frantic stuff here in the mid-pack. They have now been caught by the likes of Unhola behind them, who's towing along Gerber, Baroder, Prado, and the other Gerber, actually. Both Gerbers today, Fabian and Tobias.
Wow, look at that train of cars as they snake through those S's down the back stretch, heading towards the Parabolica for one more time. You can see that gap from basically P5 on back.
And speaking of gaps, I think Frisch has managed to pull one over Orlampi. It's about 1.3 seconds for the lead as we see this side-by-side battle on screen once again. This is Suarez trying to see if he can do anything with Millward, who's on his inside coming up towards the Curva Grande, but Millward's going to back out of it, not willing to try and test that one. We've got another side-by-side battle. Yeah, Richie, you're looking at what I'm looking at.
Yeah, same cars too, battling basically side by side. And he gets the pass done. Oh, maybe he doesn't. Over under here as they go into the first Lesmo.
That's Kochi to the outside, trying very hard, almost gets squeezed off as Matt Wood tries to take back to the racing line, but he can't carry the speed off the second Lesmo. Steve Bycroft rocks up behind him, seeing if he could maybe find a way past. He gets held up, though. No momentum down this long stretch towards Ascari means he's going to have to wait in line. So this does give the position to Kochi. He's now in third, but they have really lost touch with Orlampi in front of them.
Yeah, they've lost touch with Orlampi, and Orlampi's lost touch with Gurno Frisch. So the battle's really back with that third, fourth, and fifth position.
It is a battle to work your way onto the podium right now, but there's a lot of laps to go. They might actually be caught here on the front stretch by Adam Frazier, who is only about 7/10 back. You see glances of him there in some of the shots, the green car that is chasing these three. Come down towards Curva Grande one more time. Wood is gaining on Kochi, but he's not gaining enough. He's got to stay in line now as he stays in the wake through this long, sweeping right-hander up to the braking of Della Rosa. Nobody has anything for anybody this time, but I do think they have firmly brought the likes of Frazier into the battle.
Oh, yeah, they've got basically a huge train going on, and these guys are going to be watching their mirrors nonstop. Up front, first and second, kind of doing their thing. This is the battle on the track for the moment for that final podium spot.
We can stay with this, but I'll let the viewers know that it is a second and a half between Frisch and Norlampi, and then 2.5 seconds from Norlampi to this train with Kochi. And something seems to have happened with Pickford. Mark Pickford's had problems. Let's see what the replay shows. I think this was all on his own in Della Rosa.
Yeah, he's all by himself here. This is a really tricky spot to get slowed down for, and you can see the big sausage curbs down the right side there. Hit that, and that's it. Just kind of lift up the rear tire and spun out all on his own. He's able to keep going, though.
Well, that's not going to make the Ferrari fans happy, as that's one of the Ferraris sent well back down into 16th. Only on lap 6. So far, it has been mostly a battle for the mid-pack.
Nicola Kochi
He's
still
jumped back
holding
up.
tight. I was going to say still holding tight on that third spot, but Matt Wood was looking for a second, but not yet. So they come into that really tight chicane. You can see those huge curbs, and then you got to try to get that good run so you don't get passed into that first Lesmo. Ooh, Matt Wood's getting a little bit sideways. He's going to open the door for Steve maybe to get a run on him as they come through the second Lesmo.
And we had some fierce action back in 10th place. Tobias Gerber and Dustin Herroder made a little bit of contact through Della Rosa. This is another 5-car train. It's got Prado, Fabian Gerber, and John Stevens in there. Looks like Tobias Gerber up at the front of the train has settled things down slightly. They come up to Ascari, all of them working their way into the braking, nice and smooth, trying to find the power off of it. And Dustin Herroder with a great run coming off the chicane. He's already closing on Tobias.
Yeah, looks like Tobias is going to try to make him go around the outside. And here he goes. He's going to try the outside line around the parabolica. Just a little bit of understeer going in, but he's going to get the crossover. He's going to have that long front stretch to try to make this happen.
A little bit better speed. They're going to go wheel to wheel, punching a bigger hole in the air for Eduardo Prado behind them. He could maybe get up in this. Is anybody going to give up as they come up to the Curva Grande, losing speed on the inside? It looks like Dustin Herroder backs out of it.
Ooh, it kind of squeezes him down there, down to the apex curbing, and pass is not made yet, but they're not finished. He's going to miss he's going to have to go around those sausage curbs, jump over. He's going to lose, 3 wide. He's going to lose about 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah, Fabian made great use of that moment and got past Eduardo Prado as well as squeaking to the inside of Dustin Herroder. That moves Fabian just behind his brother into 11th. These two, Tobias and Fabian, very familiar with downforce cars using ground effects, coming over from the Camel Series, racing the Nissan GTP. Still, this train, all 5 have hung together despite that off track that we had for Dustin Herroder. In fact, he's already going on the attack on Prado. Gonna go around the outside. Oh, he's deep on the brakes. He can take the apex. Beautiful move by Dustin.
Yeah, that was a really nice, clean move, and they gave each other room, so that was good to see. Up front, everybody's kind of separated out a little bit. Not much happening up there.
Oh, I tell you what, though, up at the top of the screen, as we look at this battle with Frazier, Kochi set the fastest lap, and he's cut it down by more than half a second on Norlampi. So he's starting to reel in the Preacher. Adam Frazier is going to come out behind in this fight with Millward. That moves Frazier down to 7th. So I'm curious if we're going to have a battle for second place soon enough. Oh, and Dustin Roeder had more problems. He lost a spot again to Prado. There had been so much swapping back and forth in this group, and this is losing them a little bit up to the Gerbers. Let's see, this was up into Della Rosa here, Richie.
Yeah, it looked like he dropped some wheels on going into the corner. And, there they go, side by side. And, it's tight. It's tight. And 3 doesn't go into 1, as we can see. But these guys are having a great battle. But like I said, they're basically dropping back from the group in front while they battle. Up front with Norlampi, like you mentioned, Nicola Cocci's starting to creep in on Norlampi. And as he does that, he's also bringing along Matt Wood and Steve Bycroft with them. So hopefully we'll get a battle for second place soon.
Well, that'll certainly be interesting if that starts to erupt. Friesch responds with the fastest lap now up at the front, extending his gap over everyone. Now 2.1 seconds over Norlampi.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the lap times. I mean, Gernot Friesch is a 31.6 on that last lap, but all the way down to basically Alex Millward in 6th, he did a 31.8. Everybody's running about the same lap times at the moment, minus a tenth or two.
So as they work their way around, one thing that I noticed, I love the classic schemes they run in this series, but the Brazilian we keep talking about, Eduardo Prado, is running, I believe, the Copersucar car. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
The reason I bring that up, Emerson Fittipaldi. This was a Brazilian team, actually. So I think there's some personal pride invested in him racing for them there.
Yeah, that's definitely a classic paint job for the series, and he did definitely run that that sponsorship. I don't know if it is that exact scheme, but I know he had that sponsorship for a long time.
Brazilian currently running in 12th position, just behind Fabian and Tobias Gerber. Not even halfway through this race, and we've seen some tense action up at the front with mostly just a pressure cooker as drivers have been forced to run a torrid pace. We're right on board with Alex Millward now in 7th. Really, this is where much of the back and forth action has been, and we're going to see some more now down the front stretch. Millward on the inside of Frazier, coming up to the Curva Grande. Frazier's going to try and hold it out. He's off in the gray stuff, and he's going to lose out because Millward gets by before they hit the braking.
Yeah, it's really hard to make that move around the outside. You just lose the front of the car.
We've had a big accident. Tobias Gerber, Dustin Roeder, and Eduardo Prado, unfortunately, tried to make it 3 wide into the Curva Grande. You said 3 into 1 doesn't go, and it really didn't go this time.
Yeah, Eduardo going to the middle. And then now they're going to make it 3 wide, and that just doesn't work. Someone's got to give at this point, and unfortunately, they didn't, and all 3 have wiped out.
I think Tobias is the only one that you saw managing to carry it through the gravel and get back going. This is from Eduardo's view. I can't put too much blame on Eduardo. I mean, maybe he could have backed out, but it was the third car there to the inside that made it 3 wide. And unfortunately, the Brazilian did have a hard hit to the Armco on the inside. Yeah, it was Tobias that got away from it.
He might have been able to lift, but, you don't want to sometimes. So it's just the way it goes. You see the damage on the front wing on that car. He's still going, but he's going to definitely be hurt.
Meanwhile, Norlampi has definitely been caught now by Nicola Cocci. It is 0.2 of a second. He is well within the draft. And though he doesn't pass him this time, Matt Wood is within about 0.7 of a second. I think he's going to be joining the fray in just a moment.
Yeah, this has now been a 3-car battle for second place. So I don't know if Norlampi's just struggling a little bit or those guys just picked up the pace. Norlampi's last time was a whole second slower. So he must have made a small mistake that we missed.
And we've seen this season that Norlampi's been prone to them from time to time. I wonder if he's Unfortunately, finding himself a little bit error prone today here in Monza. Certainly looked smooth at Spa. But this is important in the championship battle because Matt Wood, at the tail of these three, would really like to minimize the points damage to Gernot Friesch, who is currently leading the race. And Friesch is leading the points, but only due to the drop weeks. So Matt Wood has really got to do everything he can to try and get up to the front of this three-car train.
Yeah, you can see Norlapi weaving back and forth, trying to break the draft of Nicola Cocci. But yeah, like I said, Matt Wood needs to get by both these cars and try to at least finish second. He's not going to be able to catch Gernot. But if these two have an incident as they go side by side around the outside, Nicola Cocci is going to try to make it happen. We haven't seen that happen yet, but now he's going to have the inside to the next corner, and he's going to send it.
And the Italian manages to be later on the brakes. Can he be smooth on the gas, though? That's the question, because Norlapi's peeking to the inside as they come up to the first Lesmo. Successful pass for Nicola Cocci, the only Italian in this top split, fighting on home territory.
Who's right behind Norlapi right now is Matt Wood. Like I said, he's really got to try to get by both these cars to minimize the points. Norlapi's now going to have the draft for himself as they go under the old track.
Into Ascari. Nicola Cocci keeping Norlapi back for now. He was fast enough to catch him. Is he fast enough to run away? That's the big question.
I don't know if he's fast enough to run away, but Norlapi was ahead and made some mistakes and brought him back to this group. We'll see as they come around Parabolica. You really need that good run off of here. And because that front straightaway is so long, this is where you can either make or break the draft.
So coming down and picking up speed. Getting up to 190 miles an hour now. As they work their way towards Curva Grande. Norlapi does have a good draft. 193, but he has to lift by the time they reach it. Oh, and he swings way wide. Can he keep it together? He doesn't go in the grass, but he loses so much speed that now Matt Wood is having to go around the outside as they come up to Della Rosia. And that's not going to work, but they are starting to lose touch. This is the best news for Nicola Cocci.
Yeah, he's definitely seeing them race in his mirrors is the best thing he can see happen. Norlapi kind of drove in there a little bit late. That pass wasn't going to happen, but it really compromised his speed. Now he's under pressure from Matt Wood. Steve Bycroft is hanging on in the back of that group, so he might be able to join this fray for the podium.
Yeah, I've been watching that Renault, and I thought that he was going to catch them, but he hasn't really been quick to get up to the back. So he's going to have to hustle if he wants to maybe get a chance at a podium himself. You can see he's got a little bit of a gap to Millward and Frazier behind him back in 6th and 7th. Just about ready to hit the halfway as they come up to lap 14 here in a moment. It is still Gernot Friesch, your leader, stretching it out to 3.5 seconds over the new second place driver, Nicola Cocci. And then Norlapi running third ahead of Matt Wood with a gap back to Steve Bycroft in 5th.
Yeah, Nicola Cocci had a great lap that time. He's 0.2 faster than Gernot Friesch, obviously from the draft, but he's able to break Norlapi and Matt Wood, so he's set his sights down. Maybe try to clutch up to Gernot. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he's running fast laps at the moment.
Yeah, he's at the fastest lap of the race so far, last time by the line. And only a little bit gained by Norlapi, as looks like Millward and Frazier have been going side by side again, but it comes out in favor of Millward once more. Those two, if they keep fighting, they're going to lose touch with Bycroft too. So depends on if they want to work together or if they just want to settle for trying to compete for a top 6. I was looking to see if we've had any big climbers so far this race, and I think the most positions gained I'm seeing so far is John Stevens, who qualified 16th and is currently up to P11. He's just ahead of Tobias Gerber, who we saw having off a little bit earlier.
Yeah, not much battling going on at the moment. Everybody's a little bit kind of clicked through the field, and everybody's kind of separated out. I did look down at Barry West. He's got a lot of damage on his car, so I don't know what happened. But he is back there in 16th spot. So something happened early on in the race that we missed.
That's rather disappointing for Barry. He's another one who, before the drop weeks, was actually looking quite good, which surprised me. I think he was in P7 in total points. So this is going to be possibly another drop race for him, being literally second to last of the cars still running. Gary Teal currently your last on the field out here today. Teal also with a little bit of damage on his car. So let's check in on Nora Lompy, who continues to try and cling to the last vestiges of hope that he could run down Kochi once more. It is about 1 second. It's been hovering just around there. And Matt Wood is still trailing behind him. So he could yet threaten, and they could lose more time if they keep battling. But Nora Lompy certainly not letting Kochi streak away too quickly, but he's also not holding right on the tail.
Well, right now, Matt Wood, though, is right on the back of Nora Lompy, so he's able to close that gap up as they go through the Parabolica. He's in close enough range where he should be able to pick that draft up. As we ride on board, you can see Nora Lompy right in front of him. He's got a long, long straightaway to make this happen. I don't think he's close enough to try to make a move, but he's close enough to put the heat on Nora Lompy as they head into the first corner, skipping that original chicane that they use for the current Formula One cars.
Yeah, not enough of a straightaway for him to go on the attack, but certainly enough that he's closed it down to within just a car length or two. They weave their way through De La Roja, and Nicola Kochi has now pulled it out to 1.2 seconds. Oh, and Adam Frazier is off the track. What happened here? This was all on his own, it looks like. Virginia's driver was giving chase on Millward. There you see, well up ahead. He lost touch quite a bit. Looks like he goes a little too deep in the brakes here.
Yeah, just kind of misses the first apex, gets a little slide over the curbs, and all by himself. That's a tough place for, you come into that section so fast that the braking markers just kind of go right by you. It's really hard to get the car slowed down as he gets turned around and continue on.
And certainly lost him a little bit. It is now ninth place for the number 9 car, and under threat from Fabian Gerber just behind him, you can see. Third place between Nora Lompy and Wood is getting a little bit hotter because Matt Wood, moving around the outside, is going to try it.
It looks like he's going to try to, oh, he washes out. He almost had it. And then he just washed out into the grass. It really, you got to get on the inside to try to make that move work. It's really tough to keep the momentum and in the gray stuff at the same time.
Enough bravery in the world won't give you more grip, unfortunately. So Matt Wood not only fails to make the pass, but he's also lost touch a little bit. It's 1.2 seconds up to Nora Lompy. He's really got to try and push to get back up to the Preacher if he wants to try and get onto the podium today.
Yeah, all that hard work was negated as he dropped wheels, and I think he's got the speed to catch up, but now he's going to be getting close to here.
Well, it has been an up and down season for Yuha. As we take a look back at Adam once more. The McLaren of Fabian Gerber stays right with him, thinking maybe he can move up from this top 10 into 9th place. Right on board with the Diaz driver looking over the front wing. And Kochi setting fastest lap again. That has been trading back and forth, though, between himself and Frisch, and I'm a looking at that gap, and it doesn't look like it's been coming down, Richie. I think it's about 4 seconds, it seems. Oh, Millward now with the fastest lap.
Yeah, as the fuel fuel gets burned off, these tires actually start working a little bit better. I think the balance of the car. So you're going to start seeing some faster laps come from all through the field. Too bad they don't give an extra point, right, for fastest lap.
Yeah, mostly a pride thing for these drivers. I don't think any of them really worried about that so much as just trying to catch the car ahead. This is our leader. He put it on pole. The multi-time champion, Gernot Frisch, looking to take another championship despite missing multiple races in a row. This is going to solidify his grip and keep him safer here in round 9.
Yeah, he's definitely in control of this race. I mean, even though Nicola Cocci went faster, it was only a 10th faster that last lap, so it looks like Gernot's just kind of managing the grip here at about 3.84 seconds.
Yeah, Cocci's running out of time with roughly 10 laps to go. The good news for him is that he's keeping Nora Loppi at arm's length. Let's jump back towards the back where we've got a nice little fight for 14th position. Alberto Pellegrini and Mark Pickford. Pellegrini, despite his name, is not Italian. This is another Brazilian driver, as you can tell by the paint scheme. I guess that Coposucar thing is definitely a local thing.
Yeah, it's probably the best battle on track at the moment. When Matt Wood had that incident, he has not been able to.
Ooh, and a good draft here for Pickford. He's got the inside on Pellegrini. And he manages to seal the deal as they come up to Curva Grande. And a little bit of a lift from Alberto is going to offer it up to Pickford in what he has sometimes dubbed the Ferrari due to his cat theme on that car. So that moves Pickford up to 14th. He's got 2.5 seconds up to Dustin Roeder. He's got a ways to go if he wants to try and gain another position here in the top split. So let's move up to 5th place. Bycroft and Millward. I believe this was a bigger gap, wasn't it, before between Millward and Bycroft? Sorry, Richie.
It was. I was going to say, I was just kind of watching that. I was going to mention, basically, Millward has creeped right up to the back of Steve Bycroft. He is now in the area where he's going to pick up that draft pretty heavily. He's going to be right on him as they come into the Curva Grande right here. Not close enough for a pass, but he's going to start putting the heat on Steve, try to take that 5th spot, as it looks like we have about 8 laps to go. 9 laps to go, sorry.
We saw a little bit earlier that at one point Millward did have the fastest lap of the race, so clearly that car is feeling very, very good underneath them. They come through the first Lesmo, and they're coming up on lap traffic. Gary Teal going to pull over, just let them through. Nicely done by the number 10 car.
And go through the second Lesmo, and they head down this straight. It goes downhill under the old track, back up. Not really much passing going into the Ascari chicane. It's pretty quick. But you got those huge sausage curbs on the inside. You can see a picture of it right there. And this is where you want to try to get that run as they come down the straightaway towards the Parabolica.
I'd say Millward did get that run as he's now 2 car lengths, 1 car length behind Steve Bycroft. He took a look, thought about it, thinks better of it. And we'll have to go back to it later, but Pickford had an issue in the Lesmos. We'll go back to that replay, but right now it looks like we got a fierce battle here for 5th place as Millward goes to the inside, coming down the pit straight. He's got a nose ahead. The car starts to stall out as they pick up speed. Bycroft comes back at him. He's got the outside. Can he chop him off? He thinks about it. A little bit of washing out from Alex Millward. Almost runs into him. Still wheel to wheel as they come up to De La Rosa. Millward later on the brakes, even though he's on the outside. And Alex is going to get into the top 5 finally. Let's watch that again.
Yeah, that was it was interesting to see how he kind of stalled out going into the corner. Looks like he had the pass made, but here comes Steve Bycroft back on the outside, and Steve tries to squeeze him off down here, but Alex holds tight, and wow, they did a good job by not touching anybody. And then as they come into the next section, Alex was determined to take this spot, is able to get it slowed down and still make that first apex.
Grit your teeth and keep your feet in it. Now, what happened to Pickford, who's since taken a retirement? Looks like his car was too damaged to continue. The UK&I driver. Oh, he hit a bad bounce. Slammed right into the Armco.
Yeah, it was
nose first. That is a shame. Nothing was going wrong. He was perfectly fine, and then suddenly off the curb here. Watch this from on.
Yeah, it just kind of gets a little bit of a bounce in the rear and just sends him off to the left into the guardrail pretty hard.
So as we come back live, our overall leader there in the Williams, Gurno Frisch, 4.3 seconds. Been managing the gap back to the Italian, Nicola Cocci. Really our closest battle up at the top is still for that 5th place. Millward, who's gotten by Bycroft with a gutsy move, is having to hold him off. Steve in the number 6 is still within about half a second.
Yeah, that's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They're all kind of close together, but not close enough to make any moves. Although Alex Miller has lost touch a little bit with Matt Wood, but he can see him up in front of him.
He's making him work for it in these final 7 laps. They work their way through the Ascari chicane. Oh, but a great exit. Alex Millward looking really strong from there. And I think we've had another car in the pits. Did Pellegrini have an incident? Yes, he did. I think this was in Curva Grande. It's a big accident.
Ooh, wow, that was a big accident. He just kind of clipped the inside curb a little bit too much and just sent him off to the outside. It's definitely the fastest corner on the track.
I think that's a graphic illustration of why they can't remove the first chicane in real life for F1 cars. My goodness.
He looks like he just got a little loose and then eventually clipped the curb. But yeah, that was a big hit.
The Brazilian has his day over. That's our 3rd retirement so far. And that bumps Gary Teal now up to 15th, just picking him off one by one while everybody else falls by the wayside. This is Frazier, a driver who had an off a little bit earlier, is currently in 9th, and Fabian Gerber has been sitting behind him for another number of laps, even though we haven't checked in on it for a while. But Fabian not able to quite make the overtake yet here.
Not much happening out there. This is probably the closest battle that we can get to at the moment. Everybody's separated out just enough to where there's no moves being made. Looks like Fabian Gerber's getting closer and closer to Adam Frazier to maybe get into the draft as they come through the Ascari chicane.
Frazier looking good off the corner. Accelerates away and extends that to about 9/10 of a second over the McLaren. Up at the top of your screen, you can see Matt Wood is trying to regain on Nora Lampe. Just at the fastest lap of the race, and he's got it down to about 1.3 seconds up to the fin.
Yeah, it's taken him a long time to get that close. He did go about 4/10 faster than Nora Lampe on that lap, so he's making time. Although it looks like they're coming up on some lap traffic.
Actually, that's Cocci that they're
that's
gaining
Cocci.
on.
Oh, they're definitely Cocci was. Sorry, I didn't realize that Cocci was getting that close to them. So both these guys chasing down that 2nd spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if they're running a quicker pace than Nicola. Last lap for Juha was a 31.5. It's a 31.4 for Nicola, so they weren't faster than him last time, at least. It's now down to 1.4 seconds from second to third. Owen Wood continuing to gain big time. I think he's feeling the effects of that slipstream. It was briefly at 0.9 of a second. Let's see what the front stretch does for him.
Yeah, he's closing in. He's getting closer and closer as they come down the front straight. I don't think he's close enough yet to really make a move or get in the draft, but it's pushing Nora Lampe up towards Nicola Cocci, although Nicola Cocci did a 31.4, Nora Lampe a 31.7, and a Matt Wood a 31.3. So really Nora Lampe's the one who's kind of struggling to maintain that pace.
Went down 2 more tenths of a second. It is now 0.7 between Wood and Nora Lampe. Last time he managed to get up to Juha, he tried to pass around the outside of Curva Grande, and it did not go well. What did he learn from that? Is he going to try something different? Or is he going to just try the same thing over again? He's got it down to 0.5 of a second now as they come through the 2 Lesmos, and he is now firmly within the slipstream. This battle is back on once more.
Yeah, I think Matt Wood's going to have to try to rethink that pass around the outside of Curva Grande. We haven't seen really that being made yet successfully. He's going to have to try to figure out either another place to get around him or just time it a little differently as he's closer and closer as they go through that scary chicane.
Let's stay with this. We got a few other battles getting close again. You can see the other one behind them between Millward and Bycroft getting close. Really, this is a fight for the podium up between Nora Lampe and Wood. Last time it was 0.9 of a second coming onto the front stretch. This time it's 0.5 of a second coming onto the front stretch. Matt Wood reeling him in inch by inch. There's no DRS in this series. It is all down to raw pace, down to the slipstream power, and a lot less of an effect that time, interestingly, even though he was closer. That surprises me, Richie.
Yeah, and he set the fastest lap again that lap, so he's definitely got the pace to get by him. It's just a matter of finding the right spot. And maybe he's just trying to time it a little bit differently. You know, you don't want to catch up to him right as you're getting into the corners, so sometimes you're just trying to time it just right and maybe work on another section of the track.
To stay with this fight, but Prix has dropped about 0.3 to Cocci. I imagine that is more about managing the gap than Nicola gaining any sort of pace over Gurno. So down into Ascari. Wood 0.3 of a second. Even though they are within about 2 seconds to Nicola Cocci in P2 ahead of them, as we see another weave from Juha trying to break the draft. I'd say the Preacher very much looking in his mirrors, playing defense more than attack here at the end of the race. On board with Matt Wood coming down the front stretch. This will be great to see how much he reels him in this time. Is he going to go for the attack? Last time, he didn't really seem to gain a lot. 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, he's definitely close enough to make a move. It's Nora Lampe. He's feeling the heat, weaving back and forth. Not quite close enough. He's not going to make the same mistake as last time. These points are crucial for Matt Wood for the championship, so he really needs to get by Nora Lampe before we get to the end of this race. With only 2 laps to go, he's going to have to make a move at some point.
Now they're coming up on traffic. It's going to be Barry West that they'll get around. Nicola Cocci actually had to try and overtake him. Coming through the second Lesmo. They can see West up ahead, but does he lift? He's a little bit far to try and pull that right now. Maybe coming out of Ascari, he can offer a chance for them to sneak by. Nope, he is going to lift. There he goes. So Nora Lampe and Wood can continue their fight.
One more time through the Ascari chicane. One more time down that backstretch. We're coming up to a point where he's going to have to make a decision on where he's going to try to make that pass.
He lost a little bit of time through that chicane. White flag out for this man. Gernot Frisch, the DH driver, comes across the line. He's been leading every single lap of the race, and I think it's looking like he will lead this final one. Nora Loppe, in a critical moment, pulled the gap on Matt Wood. It was up as high as 0.6 of a second, and I'd say that number 4 car is not going to have an opportunity, at least at this point of the lap. Could he maybe close it down for a last little attack at the end? Battle for 5th, though, even closer. This is Millward fending off Wood. Lap car west, letting them through.
Yeah, Nora Loppe did the best run that he could out of the Parabolica to try to break that draft. I don't think Matt Wood has anything for him. He's sliding all over the place, and he's trying, but I think he's got a little bit too much work to be done with only half a lap to go.
Certainly looks to be the case. We're watching that battle for 3rd. We'll break over to the leader soon enough here as they come through Ascari. This is going to be the critical exit for Juha Nora Loppe, trying to keep Matt Wood from sneaking onto the podium here at Italy. But definitely at the top step of the podium, Gernot Frisch is going to return with a victory after a long absence. The number 1 car finishes P1 here at Monza. And how about Nicola Cocci at his home track? A podium finish for him, and Nora Loppe just squeaking through to take a podium himself in 3rd. Millward beats Bycroft for a top 5. Go ahead, Richie.
I was going to say, just Matt Wood definitely kept Nora Loppe honest, but basically top 4 guys finishing where they started. It was a pretty exciting race. Had some good moments. As we're watching the battle for 9th and 10th coming on, Adam Frazier and Fabian Gerber trying to make it happen, but it's going to run out of time as well.
Only other battle on track left is between Heroder and Tobias Gerber. You see Dustin running 12th place. They're actually not too far behind Gary Teal, but Teal is a lap down, and it's going to be Dustin who claims 12th. Gerber settles for 13th. That's going to take us to break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews on screen. You're going to see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Monza. We just watched round 9 of the Classic Teams Championship. Lotus 79 cars working their way around a very, very fast Italian track. and Gernot Frisch was the fastest, managing to win by about 4 seconds over the rest of the field. Nicola Cocci, though, the only Italian in this top split, gets onto the podium. Even though he didn't take the win, I think he should be happy with that. And Juha Norlampi comes back with a third place after his win last week at Spa. He had to fend off a charging Matt Wood, one of our championship contenders, but Wood is going to lose a lot of points to Gernot Frisch here today. Alex Millward takes P5 with Steve Bycroft finishing in 6th position. Tommy Unhola, a bit of an anonymous race, but still managing 7th place today. You got to give credit to Tommy as Pablo Suarez takes 8th and Adam Frazier recovers to 9th with unfortunately a mistake sending him backwards partway through the race. And then the top 10 is rounded out by Fabian Gerber.
Coming home in 11th will be John Stevens. Good run, 16th to 11th for him. Dustin Herriter finishing where he started, which was 12th. Tobias Gerber had some issues, started 9th, finished 13th. The rest of these cars are all lap down or more. So Barry West comes home 14th, Gary Teal 15th. The rest of these cars I don't believe finished. Alberto Pellegrini in 16th, Mark Pickford 17th, and Eduardo Prada in 18th.
And we've got our winner ready to talk to us, Gernot Frisch, joining us in the booth. Gernot, you expressed some surprise in the chat after the race that you managed to win this one. What made you think that this wouldn't be a race for you to lose?
Hi, Joe. Yeah, basically it's a track that doesn't really suit me because I prefer the high downforce tracks. I'm usually not that strong on the super fast, high-speed tracks. Also, I just started practicing this week yesterday, so didn't put in many laps, and I was quite surprised to see myself on pace and just similar to the other top guys.
Now, Nicola Cocci and Nora Lampi swapped around that second place, but in both cases, it looked like you were inching away and keeping that gap up. But then suddenly later in the race, I saw it come down a little bit. Were you managing the gap towards the end, or did traffic get in the way? What caused the sudden lowering of the time?
No, I didn't manage anything. Basically, the race developed completely in my favor. I managed to put in a little bit of a gap in the beginning, and then I kept pushing a lot. And I think the top 4 guys had absolutely similar pace, and I was lucky to get away in the beginning, and then just held that gap until the end.
Obviously, you've missed 3 races, but you come back showing quite a bit of speed. Do you have any other planned miss races? Because you only have one more drop week before you lose all of your 4 drop weeks.
Yeah, that's not so good for me. But I think I should be available for the rest of the season. So things are not looking that bad. And that was a big points race, so it's even better for me. And the championship looks pretty exciting this time.
All right. Well, we'll look out for you in the last 3 races of the season. Congratulations on the victory here at Monza.
Thanks, guys. Congrats to Nicola and you as well. Strong race, just as Matt.
And that was our winner, Gernot Frisch. Richie's going to talk to probably a very happy Italian, Nicola Cocci, with a 2nd place today.
Yeah, Nicola is being the only Italian in here. Great run at your home track. Started 2nd, finished 2nd, but Norlampi made you earn it a little bit.
Oh yeah, hi guys. It's always tough to try to stay close to Mr. Gernot and you are. I thought that for the first time, well, not the first time, but I was I had a strong pace. So, but at the same time, I know that I was super slow in the start. So I knew that I had to do some overtakes out there, and that was fine. But Gernot was able to get that 4-second gap that it was unclosable. And I tried to push once I was able to pass you up, but I start to see some kind of stuttering on my headset, and that's make me think twice. and to be a little bit more safe. But even if without that issue, I think that I was able to close about half a second, something like that, and I didn't have enough laps to getting by without going on doing a mistake.
Yeah, we saw you kind of closing in a little bit, and then it stalled out. So yeah, that would make some sense. Gurno was just able to just put in a couple of monster laps at the beginning and break the draft. And then with that fight with Norlampi, it was interesting to watch on the track or on the screen. Was it tough to pass out there with the low downforce?
I wouldn't say that Monza is a tough to pass track at all. I think it's quite, a little bit more, either easier than the average. Of course, if you have the right setup. But yeah, you have to be very very careful about your line, because with this low downforce, you're gonna always have a little bit of understeer, and that's on race fuel. It plays a lot of a very big role in your race. So in Curva Grande, you will really have to stay aware that the car is going to go wide, and when you are on the draft, it's even worse. And so you have all this effect that adds up, and it's going to be pretty hard to attack and not be overtook and at the same time drive all your car on the limit.
Yeah, I always saw that with some of the other drivers as well. Well, congratulations. Like I said, being the only Italian, even though it's not truly, we're not truly there doing it, but it's got to feel good to finish second at your home race.
Yeah, I always have a good relationship with Monza, and I really wanted to get a win, but I already got two in this week, so I think it's good enough, I guess.
Well, thank you for joining us here, Nicola, and we will see you next Sunday.
Okay, guys, bye bye.
That was second place finisher Nicola Cocci. And up next, we have the last of the podium, Juha Norlampi, who himself had a tense fight with Matt Wood. Before we get to that at the end, though, Juha, I want to talk about the start of the race. Off the line in the first couple laps, it looked like you might be able to challenge Gurno, but what caused you to lose the draft in the end?
Hi, Joe. Yes, I had a good start again, and I knew that I could try overtake the first corner Gernot as I did last time, but I couldn't manage that. And after a few laps, I made a tiny bit mistakes there, and I lose some control there. But it's enough to get a little gap there, and I thought that Gerard had a great pace. I don't know where he got that, but at least that heavy car, he was super fast, and also with a light car, because he was 3/10 quicker at the qualification, and that was amazing lap. But yeah, this is a stupid track to race here with this Lotus 79. This is my opinion. It doesn't suit this kind of track at all. It's not designed to run like a maniac without any wings. But well, we had to do this kind of tracks also sometimes, but rather not. But I'm very glad that I could finish this first race this week with a clean race, because three others ended up with two crashes and one not so good result. But I knew that Nicola was very good here, because he has a great pace at Thursday and Friday, or was it Thursday only? But yes, I could improve my car a little bit, tiny bit after that, but it only could match the pace, but I couldn't be any better than these four guys, these other three guys, Gernot, Matt, and Nicola, and I tried everything, but I have still something to improve with my setup and perhaps my driving. But I'm not liking like this kind of tracks at all, but sorry about that. Well, congratulations to Gernot, which was very super fast again, and I don't know if those holidays are any good for him, but welcome back, and those points again. 230 over points to Gernot, of course, because he's also always lucky with those points. But I think he's if he's going to race those 3 more races, he's going to be sure championship leader and winning the championship this season. But you can't win every time. So congratulations to Gernot and Nicola especially, and Matt also. Matt has also a very great pace, and see you guys. Bye bye.
Well, thanks for that, Juha. And it doesn't have to like all of them. Variety is the spice of life. At least he acknowledges that. And always a great interview with the preacher. But that's going to close up our interviews today. The entertaining opinions of Juha Norlampi. I always like actually when drivers give their raw opinions and their honest opinions on things. It makes it a little bit more interesting and more human. And Gernot Frisch certainly has shown that he's got a little bit of human in him, having missed some races, made some mistakes, but certainly not today as he takes the win. And a big thank you goes to the entire Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage here for the Classic Teams Championship. Thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Richie, Amjed, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget, head on over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button as well so that you don't miss a moment here on the GSRC. The next race, they're going to a very technical track, Okayama. That'll be May 19th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.